let's just stretch this discussion a little bit and now talk to Governor Nderitu Muriithi, who is the governor of Laikipia County, who also chairs the Finance, Planning and Economic Affairs in the Council of Governors. Governor, first of all, good morning and good to see you all the way from Laikipia County. Good morning.
Good morning. Very good to be here, and thank you very much. I look forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. Let's start it off, Governor. What is the expectation from where you sit? Today is a big day, and we expect the CS to give us his ambitious budget of 3.63 trillion shillings. What is the expectation?
Well, first of all, you know, these days the budget is an open book.
Yes.
So that the figures are already known. So in a sense, we already know what the minister is focused on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me start with the devolution. You know, obviously, that the money is going to counties is 370 billion in equitable share.
Mm-hmm.
And 40 billion in conditional and non-conditional grants, totaling 410. So that's already known. The amount that you pointed out of the national government expenditure as well as national institutions, the 6 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
You already know that. About 2.5 trillion is recurrent expenditure.
Yes.
Of which about 1.3 trillion is for repaying debt, and about 1.1 trillion in recurrent expenditure, and approximately, I think, 700 or so billion in development expenditure. So the numbers are already known, and the budget books everybody can download them from the Treasury website, and that's a good thing because, you know, when we were children, budget making was this big secret that was done somewhere in the Treasury.
Yeah,
and that's why we all waited for the budget speech, or our parents were all waiting for the budget speech, and the budget speech would start saying things like from midnight to night. This is so. Yeah. With the reforms of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, budget making involves all of us. So the only thing I can comment on is on the national budget. I think we certainly are already disappointed. And I mean, I want to be quite candid here and say that as an economist, I had rather expected this budget to have a stimulus orientation, but it has not done so. What would why? Let me start with why, and then what would it have been?
Yes.
The why is like this. CS ambassador Governor Yatani, you know, he was an ambassador and he was also governor in the last session. He would know, and he has been saying often, that the reason he is late in disbursements, and he's late in disbursements to counties, he has a big pile of pending bills. That's why you are hearing MPs saying maybe the Treasury should float a special bond to use to pay their pending bills. So, what is his main issue? His main issue is that tax collection is sluggish. It is depressed. Why is tax collection sluggish? It is sluggish because economic activity is depressed. And economic activity is depressed in large measure because of COVID. Because remember, we ourselves as Kenya, we've had to literally close the economy about twice when we have these major lockdowns. That has also been the case in our global markets. So for instance, we are not getting tourists and things like that.
Yeah.
So how will tax revenue increase if economic activity is not increasing? So we as economists had expected this budget to infuse, to try and stimulate and excite economic activity so that, people have money in their pocket, so that tax revenues are increasing. Unfortunately, he has not done so. The only thing he has done is to attempt to fund the large ticket items. And that's really unfortunate, because it means that for the next 12 months, he is going to continue to struggle with tax collection. It will remain sluggish, which means he will continue to be unable to meet his tax targets, which means disbursements will continue to be a problem.
Yes. Okay. The Governor, the county governments was planning for 370 billion shillings. That is the equitable share. How is the progress so far? Now that from these estimates, the county government is set to get 410 billion shillings in the next financial year.
No, counties are budgeting and have been budgeting for the entire 410.
Yes.
Because again, remember the budgeting cycle, Victor. The division of revenue is already settled. That is how we know that equitable share is 370 billion.
Yes.
The conditional grants are also already known. That is how we know the conditional grants are 40 billion. So total 410. And
yes.
Each county has therefore cast and
yes.
we already know, although the CARA is not concluded, no, it was concluded last week actually. We already know what is in the CARA, meaning how much of the 370, how much is going to Laikipia, how much is going to Mombasa, how much is going to Kirinyaga, like that. What is not concluded, although the figures are known, there is a new act, which is the County Governments or County Grants Act, which will go alongside the CARA. That has not been concluded, but the numbers are known.
Yes.
So counties have been budgeting that way. But I feel like the question you're asking is this: even if you have a budget, and this budget is not funded, or the disbursements don't come, then really the budget is not very helpful. Now, right now, some counties have not received their monies for equitable share for March, for April, for March. And no county, all counties have not received equitable share for April, for May, and for June. And as I said, for 27 counties, more than half the counties, they have not received their equitable share for March, meaning we are 4 months behind. And that's a terrible situation to be in, because that means pending bills are piling, that means service delivery is really suffering, and so on.
Yes.
And those are the things we had hoped or expected the CS to be able to address.
How have you handled, now that the pending bills are here, the equitable share, some of the counties have, as you've correctly put it, have not received for several months now, and we are crossing over to the next financial year. How is this going to affect the operations in the counties, Governor?
It has really affected operations in the counties. I think you've seen in at least 2 or 3 counties, for example, health personnel threatening to go on strike, or because of delayed salaries and so on. Basically, service delivery is really, really hampered by this delay in disbursements. And not just service delivery, economic activity, because this is what happens, Victor.
Yes.
If you let's say if you are a contractor and you've done work for the city of Nairobi, or for Laikipia for that matter, and the county has no cash flow to pay you. It means you yourself, you cannot pay your workers, you cannot pay your suppliers, which means that they in turn cannot pay their workers and they cannot pay their suppliers. So the economy constricts, the economy stalls.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that's actually what is happening, because the national government itself has big pending bills. All counties, because of delayed disbursements, are not able to pay their pending bills, which means that economic activity throughout the republic has stagnated. So when you hear people complaining, even these whole things like this whole hustler narrative, the point is that people are saying the truth. They don't have money in their pocket.
Yes.
And if people don't have money in their pocket and food on their table, even the best highway may not be of help.
Right.
And this is where the disconnect is coming.
The question here is that has the counties been able to raise their revenue collections to operationalize all the projects in the counties?
Well, Victor, the own source revenue, the taxes that we collect within counties on our own behalf, that number has itself been a bit depressed because of the issues of COVID and so on. A few counties have been able to grow revenue, but obviously some counties have been very hard hit. If you look at our colleagues in Narok, because tourism is all but stopped and a lot of their revenue is dependent on tourism, they have really struggled this year because there's simply no tourism activity. A few have been lucky, like ourselves in Laikipia. So if you look at month on month, we are about almost 10% higher. No, we are 20-something% higher this year than we were last year. But those are few and in between the counties that have been able to collect more this financial year than the previous one. So I would say that when you look at county budgets, more than 70% of county budgets are financed from equitable share.
Yes.
So although we are raising our own money, more than 70% of our budget is financed through the equitable share. And that is the share that is 3-4 months delayed. Yes. And that, Victor, sorry.
In that one, okay. Governor, the counties are set to get 410 billion shillings in the next financial year. Is that enough to help you push for the projects in the counties from where you sit?
Well, it is certainly higher. That is the highest that has gone to counties so far. However, you should not celebrate yet, Victor. You shouldn't. Because it is a number on a budget. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Already, I'm telling you, of the three, it was actually 310. Of the 310 billion from last financial year, we have not received it for more than 4 months. Yeah. It looks like we will end up crossing the financial year, with Treasury not having disbursed monies to counties, which is first of all against the law and against the Constitution. So, although the number promised to counties has increased, the real issue is in the disbursements. The proof of the pudding is in the eating.
In the eating. Governor, most of the county governments have been accused of misuse of funds. I don't know, what's your take on that?
First of all, I am quite sure, I don't know, Kimwarel, Arodam, KEMSA, I'm sure all of those are not in the county, they're not county functions.
Not really.
Money lost were not in the county budget. When you look at, for example, the audit of the monies used at COVID, the real issues are with the national government. Yeah, and every county has been audited. There was a special audit for the use of COVID funds.
Yes.
And except for minor issues, most counties' audits were quite up to standard. So this question of misuse is a red herring. It's a smoke screen used to try and discredit counties and justify. It is used to justify these delays in disbursing to counties. Where there has been an issue, that issue should be investigated, and if people are found culpable, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And remember, we as counties, we have two levels of oversight. The immediate level of oversight is our county assemblies. The second level of oversight is the Senate. So for instance, when my county, when we were audited for use of COVID funds, we have appeared in the Senate. We have also appeared before our own county assembly.
Yes.
And both houses has found that we used these monies appropriately.
Right.
I doubt that the national government can say the same. So it's a smokescreen, Victor. My view, my theory is that the smokescreen is usually used to justify the delay in disbursements.
All right. Now this one is a personal question. As an economist, what do you think, and how do you think CS Ukur Yatani is going to, after reading the budget, how is it going to make sure that this money is availed or just put it readily available to help the government run all the projects? That is the 3.63 trillion shillings.
Honestly, as an economist, I fail to see how he will do it because, as I've told, by the way, the signs are already there and you can tell them, Victor. Ask yourself, since independence, we have never read the budget before we release the economic survey. Because the economic survey is data about how is the economy performing right now and for the last 12 months. Now, they have not released the economic survey. That should really worry you. It does certainly worries me as an economist. It says that perhaps the numbers are so depressed, they know that if they release them, the credibility of the budget will be not there. So it's a very worrisome sign that he is going to read the budget statement before the economic survey has been released. So he's shooting in the dark. Or maybe he has the numbers, but certainly the public and the business people and all of us, we don't have it, so we'll be shooting in the dark. As I explained in the beginning of the program, when you have depressed economic activity, the number one thing that government needs to do is to stimulate the economy.
Yes.
And we saw that very, very effectively. You will recall when President Uhuru was first appointed finance minister by President Kibaki. His number one budget, his first budget, was a stimulus budget.
Yes.
And that allowed the economy to bounce back to around 7% growth.
Yes.
So what I honestly, looking at the way the budget has been framed, there is no effort whatsoever to stimulate economic activity or to and therefore get the economy out of recession. So I'm not sure how CS Ukur expects to have growth in taxes. I don't know how he expects to achieve it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This one now goes of course, now to your county. Your latest strategy aims at growing your county from 100 billion shillings to 400 billion shillings. That is fourfold. How are you going to achieve this, Governor?
And we are already achieving it. We should tell you that.
Wow, that's some good news there.
It is good. If you look back in the period of devolution, at 2013, 2014, the economy of the county was 38 billion. Right now, we are in fact around 106, 107 billion per year in GDP.
What's the secret? What's the secret, Governor, that maybe your colleagues can borrow from you? From 36 to 100 and something billion, that's an exponential kind of growth.
By the way, we are not the fastest growing. I think we are number 2. Elgeyo Marakwet is ahead of us. Now, the gains have come from gains in agriculture. Like, for example, in Laikipia, you will see more than a tripling, increasing by 3 times, the area under irrigated agriculture, particularly smallholders. And of course, when you do irrigation, then you get more crops, more seasons and so on, or more crops per year. So the productivity of agriculture has gone up. It is also about prudent management of economy. If you look at our business register, since I have been governor 3.5 years ago, our business register has grown from 14,000 businesses to 23,000 businesses. Almost double. The number of persons employed in those businesses has in fact doubled from 23,000 to just over 40,000. We are very, very focused on promoting small manufacturing. You'll be quite intrigued to know that here in Laikipia we have, for example, the folks in Nyahururu who build, who produce the tuk-tuk. We have young men producing small drones. We have young men and women producing beauty products. We have producing dryers. So we are very strong on promoting small manufacturing. For instance, as we speak right now, we have an economic stimulus package that involves partnership with commercial banks. So if you are a small business in Laikipia, if you are a small business registered or having a business license in Laikipia, you have access to working capital at 7.5%. Yes, that's what I said, 7.5%. As your interest you're paying on your working capital. Compare that to what you have to pay if you are in some other places of 12 and 13%. So that's how to make businesses competitive, is to support them. And to also make sure that government is really responsive to their needs, and to continue to make it easier for that economy to grow. Laikipia, of course, is also very strategically positioned because we are the main gateway to northern Kenya and to southern Ethiopia. So if you're going to Isiolo, if you're going to Samburu, if you're going to parts of Turkana, if you're going to Marsabit, if you're going to Wajir, if you're going to Mandera, if you're going to southern Ethiopia, Laikipia is your gateway. That's why, for example, you are hearing the discussions about containerized cargo destined for Ethiopia coming by railway to Nanyuki and then getting on the very fantastic highway from Nanyuki to Moyale at the boundary of Ethiopia. It is also a very good distribution center or logistics center for the Mount Kenya region.
Yes.
So if you're taking goods to Meru, to Tharaka Nithi, in fact, even to parts of Baringo, Saburu, definitely, you know, then again, Nyanyuki is a fantastic, or Laikipia is a fantastic place to work from. That's why at the moment, we host one of the larger distribution depots for petroleum products. So all those things are the ones that have made us be able to move forward. But as you rightly pointed out, our ambition is in the immediate term to be able to go to 400 billion per year. Now, how will we do so? We have a full agenda, but allow me for time's sake to point out just four.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Number one is to continue support to manufacturing, particularly small manufacturing enterprises. And we'll be looking to support them with more with working capital, but also with manufacturing loans and other access to capital. We expect to focus, if you look at our budget this year, on irrigated agriculture. That is why, and we are already achieving some good success. If you look at the Suli Water Project, if you look at Kenamba Water on the western side of Laikipia, if you look at the Makurian Water Project, if you look at the Kariunga, Muitirithi, and Naibo irrigation scheme, all these are water or irrigation projects that will increase the acreage under irrigation and therefore improve agricultural productivity. We are also focused on assisting businesses to be formal. So again, we are targeting to grow the business register from around 24,000 to about 35,000 businesses.
Yes.
Also, we continue with our effort for feedlots to increase productivity of livestock. And you'll see this, it is the main purpose of the Makurian Osirua water project that is going to bring water to more than 4,000 households, mainly in Mukogodo East, but also partly in Mukogodo West. So all these measures are designed and to be able to push our economy towards 400 billion per year in GDP. Victor.
Okay, Governor, because we are stuck of time, let me just ask you this one as you wind up. What is the expectation to the counties? Of course, as far as the budget is concerned, is just a matter of a few hours for us to get that report from the CS Ukur Yatani.
I would urge all of us as counties to pay some attention to stimulating their economies. We already have you working with KIPRA, with support from UNDP and other players.
Yes.
In fact, these instruments were launched by the president many months ago. Recall when the president was launching the construction of the Ugatuzi Towers or G47 Towers.
Yes.
One of the things we did was to launch post-COVID or recovery strategies, which focused on what counties can do to stimulate local economic production in their respective counties. And I would urge that counties certainly include that in their budgets, because the figures are known: 370 billion in equitable share and 40 billion in conditional grants. I would also urge counties, particularly within the economic blocks, to consider specific support to small business by lowering the distribution cost. Let me explain in under a minute.
Sure.
and this is under discussion within certainly my economic bloc. If you are a producer in Nanyuki, let's say you make yogurt in Nanyuki, and of course you already pay, single business permit in Laikipia. When you go to Narumoru, which is in Nyeri, at the moment you will pay, of course, a single business permit for that side.
Yes.
And we're in discussions with my colleague in Nyeri to remove that, so that if you are a registered business in Nyeri, you should be able to trade in Laikipia without us asking you for an additional permit, and vice versa. If you are a business registered in Laikipia, you should not have to pay for an additional license when you get to Nyeri. So these things are in the works, and that's what I would urge my colleagues in the other counties to do, so that we put money in people's pockets. And the truth is, right now, the reality is that the economic activity is sluggish and people don't have money in their pockets. We need to do more to put more money in people's pockets. I thank you.
All right. I think, Governor, you've painted a beautiful picture about Laikipia County. That makes somebody to just take the next trip to Laikipia County and just explore how Laikipia County for as a gateway. All right.
Karibu sana Laikipia. There are amazing places to visit and to see.
Yes.
Not just in Nanyuki, Rumuruti, Nyaururu, Kimanjo, Doldo, Kirimon, Ronyek. Amazing places to visit. Many hidden gems to take a weekend off and relax with family and friends.
Absolutely.
There is the fun train that comes on Friday afternoons, passenger train.
Yes.
It's quite a nice experience, riding through the very scenic countryside. Karibu sana Laikipia.
Okay. I think as Good Morning Kenya, we will make a trip to Laikipia County, and if we come knocking, please open for us. Thank you, Governor. Thank you so much for talking to us. That is Governor Ndiritu Murithi, who is the governor of Laikipia County, who is also the chair of Finance and Planning and Economic Affairs in the Council of Governors, talking to us matters budget and matters counties and what we should expect in the coming hours and of course coming days. Governor, thank you so much for your time. And of course, you as a viewer, we call it a wrap. At this particular point, you've been watching Good Morning Kenya on KBC Channel 1. We appreciate your valued company from 7 a.m. until this particular point. It's time to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.